Hello, survey group. I just want to give you a little guidance as you are preparing to start your data collection. A few things I want you to start thinking about with your group are sampling. So, who would you like to take this survey? There are a few different approaches. One is just convenience. We can send your survey out to all of the Biorca students and you could just see who responds. Totally fine. Then you could think about of those respondents, what do you want to know about them? So you're going to think about the survey design in terms of the questions. So there are going to be questions that get to the idea of, how did you become a teacher? Where did this journey take you and where are you now, to answer that our big question. But also, do you want to collect any demographic data up front? So things like age or gender or marital status or where in the world do they live. You have to decide like what questions do you want answered. So the demographic data will be up front, and then think about what your questions are going to be. When you're thinking about designing your questions, try to make sure that the answers are all, they call it the valence. So like the valence all goes in the same direction. So you'd be asking questions that lead to answers that are either like, completely agree to completely disagree or the other way around. So you just want to make sure that the way in which your question is phrased lends itself easily to that same pattern throughout so that people aren't, they don't get confused as to how to answer the question as it goes along. Some other things might want to think about. Some people, when they construct surveys, will ask a question, kind of the same question but two different ways to see if the respondents are giving reliable answers. But that's up to you if you want to try something like that. The last thing I want you to think about is once your survey is constructed, you should all take it yourself. And even though you've constructed it, and it might go a lot quicker for you because you know the questions, really read every question just like you would if you were an actual respondent, and then answer every question and time yourself. Because when you send that survey out, you're going to send a little preview letter that says like, hey, here's who we are. We want you to answer this survey. Here's how long it's going to take. Because if somebody gets into a survey and they think it's going to take 2 minutes and they're 10 minutes in, lots of times respondents just shut it down and they don't respond at all. So you want to give them a fair estimate of like, this is going to take 5 minutes. You've got 5 minutes. And that might also influence how long you make your survey because you want as many respondents as possible so that you can have, as much data as possible to answer your questions. You can combine both questions that are very limited answer, like strongly agree to strongly disagree, and you can add a few open-ended questions if you want to have a little bit more voice to the data so that you can do a little bit of triangulation. And we can talk a little bit about that when we meet as well. So if you are meeting together before you meet with me, these are just a few things that I thought you might want to start thinking about. All right, good luck.